I've got your questions. Let's do this. What's up, socials? Welcome back to AmyTV. Today I wanted to just take a time out from my usual programming and see what the heck is on your mind. So I'll be taking your questions for a Q&A. If that is not extremely evident by the fact that I'll be taking your questions, this is a Q&A. Hello, I need you to cooperate for this to work. My phone doesn't recognize me when I'm smiling, so there's that. I went to my Instagram and Twitter and asked you guys to send me questions, and they are rolling in. So we are just gonna have to maybe do rapid fire across the board here. Let's see how that goes. I'm really bad at rapid fire, like the worst. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I answer questions all the time on my social media, and I'm probably gonna do more of these Q&As probably on like a monthly or I don't know, I guess it depends, a monthly basis or something. So that sounds reliable. You should subscribe. Like, oh, if you love asking questions, it's a variable, but it'll probably happen. Daniela Alexandra 881 asked, what should I do if I have too many ideas? I'm afraid that if I pick one thing, I'll miss out on another. This is about my career too, because I know that I want so much to be a writer. I want to write books and screenplays and an entrepreneur at the same time. Then I thought that I could be a film director too. Daniela, there should be no limit to your ideas and the things you want to do. These sound more like career paths than they sound like ideas. It's not like you have an idea for one book and you have an idea for one screenplay and you have an idea for one film all at the same time. I think these things start to happen over time. They probably do overlap a little bit, but my advice would be to get started on something as soon as you can. If you have an idea for a book, start outlining it, start writing it. Don't compartmentalize yourself into one of these things. I actually find this to be very much relatable, because I could say I'm a YouTuber today, I could say I'm a speaker tomorrow, I could say I'm an author the next day, I could say I'm a business owner the day after that. I'm all of those things on another day, and I tend to fit a lot of different descriptions on different days at different times, and sometimes all at the same time. I'm a podcaster, I'm a dog mom. I mean, like, you can always say, like, I have a million things going on, it's probably too complicated, I should pick just one. You actually should just lean into what you're really, really good at. You know what I love? I love the example of Robin Williams in this case. Robin Williams, RIP, we miss you so, so much. Robin Williams said he wanted to be on television. He said then he wanted to be in the movies. Then he wanted to do something not funny. I mean, like, he just did it all. But he took action on at least one thing at a time in order to make all of those other things happen, in order for all of those challenges to pan out. So I would just say that if there's something you could do right now, what would that be? And instead of trying to compartmentalize yourself or give yourself a title, then just go do a really amazing job at that one thing. And I think that that's the best way for you to get started, even if you have a million ideas. Now you need to get focused and decide, okay, I'm going to pick this one idea for now, but I'm going to follow through with it, and I'm going to have a book, or I'm going to have a screenplay. And then what's the step after that? Is it pitching the book? Is it selling the book? Is it getting it published? Is it getting somebody to pick up the screenplay? You have to be able to take one step in order to get to the next one. Do not paralyze yourself with too many ideas. Pick one for now and go all in. Miss Patricia B wants to know how to build confidence and stop self-criticism. I'm so excited that you asked this question. I just posted a video a couple of days ago with the one and only Mel Robbins from the book, The 5-Second Rule.
I wish that when I was your age, I knew that I wasn't stuck with the things that I thought. I only learned this 4 years ago.
I highly recommend you go check out that video, because we talk about eliminating that self-doubt. And I think that that's something we all have to deal with. I have self-doubt on so many levels. It just depends on the things that I don't have as much experience with, the things I still get nervous about, versus the things that may seem like, oh my gosh, she just has so much confidence. It comes from experience. It comes from taking action on something, doing something outside of my comfort zone, and keeping it up. It's about taking action, because once you have experience in something, confidence just comes inherently. It just fits with everything you're doing and it feels so much more natural. For me to say I'm very confident is bizarre. Like, why? I don't know that I would ever say that, but I know that there are things that I come off very confident at because I have experience. Becca Kins1 asked, I'm an aspiring writer currently stuck in a major rut. I have all my ideas to get my writing project started, but I am completely lacking in motivation. Any tips on how to get going or any steps you take to boost motivation? Becca, maybe it's just not the time for that writing project right now. But the reality is, and I learned this too as I guess I would also call myself an aspiring writer. I wrote a book, but that's not something that's totally natural to me. I've been writing more blog posts lately. I'm trying to get more sort of written content out there. So I'm aspiring in a lot of respects. And I often find that I'm never really ready to sit down and write, ever. And from what I understand and from what I've heard from most writers is that if you don't practice, and it goes back to what we were just talking about, that experience, if you don't sit down to actually do the thing, you can't ever really get better at doing the thing. And if it comes down to motivation, the motivation is often connected to the fact that you feel very stale, you feel very disconnected from the project. And simply asking yourself to sit down for 1 minute and do the thing instead of asking yourself to do it for 4 hours can change the game for you a little bit, because maybe you sit down and write for 1 minute and then it becomes 5, and then maybe it becomes 15, and 15 you end up feeling your max, and that's a good day. And the next day maybe it ends up being the same, or it ends up being more. I think that's motivating. You can find a million motivational talks all over the internet, but if you actually motivated yourself, it's going to come from simply taking action, as little as it is. This reminds me of the 6th grade. It just came to me. I remember in the 6th grade, we were doing like a group book reading in the class. So the teacher said, I'm going to start reading. Everyone had a copy of this book. I'm going to start reading, and whenever I stop, someone in the classroom can start. Anyone can start. And you can read for as long as you want or as little as you want. There is no limitation. There is no minimum. And I remember vividly the person who only read 1 word. Like, the teacher read 2 sentences, somebody else read a paragraph, I think I read a sentence, and then somebody else read 1 word. And then somebody else picked it up from there. And the only reason why I remember that person is because it was so small, but he did something. He spoke up, and he didn't actually speak up that often in class. So maybe you can connect it to that. It may feel stupid, but doing something just enough to make you feel connected to the project, make you feel more motivated that you got something done, that could do worlds for you, even more than me telling you why you should be motivated would. Zabo Annette said, describe the perfect business successful woman style. I just recently found your YouTube channel and I love it. I'm also a morning person and I wake up at 5 a.m. even as a university student. By the way, I'm from Romania. Oh, I love this question. If I had to describe the perfect business successful woman style, I think that it is very individual to who you are, and you have to feel okay in your own skin. And that's what's important to me. So there's certain things that I won't do, and there's certain things that I love to do as it comes to my style. And I think that's a lot of fun to navigate and discover. And so I think if we're talking about styling in terms of like clothes, that's because like the first place that my brain went. I always try to wear a dress when I do presentations or when I do a talk. I know sometimes I'm going into an environment where it's very casual and I do not have to wear a dress, but that's just not me. That is not how I've defined presenting myself, and so I always do that. But I will make sure that the hemline is as close to the knee, if not below, as possible, because I love the way that looks on my figure, and I definitely don't want a whole lot of skin hanging out because that's completely inappropriate. I feel pretty much the same way on this YouTube channel when it comes to that, and pretty much anywhere else you're going to see online. If you see something else from me, it is a little bit of me letting my hair down and getting a little bit more connected with you, but I try not to toe any lines I'm not comfortable with, just because I've always been a little bit conservative in dress for most of my life. When it comes to style and how you carry yourself, again, I think that that's super determined on who you are individually, and I think we could go down a million different directions with this. But what I know about my style of how I sort of just present myself as a human to other humans, what I know for sure is that as bright and as positive as you can be, you will likely get that in return. And that's why I think I don't tend to find myself in a lot of dramas, because I veer away from them completely. And whenever they are in my life, I know that I don't do well with them. And so I have to completely take a step back. And it's not because I'm avoiding something. It's because I know I can do better myself. And I shouldn't be allowing outside sources to determine that for me. So I think that's another touch on style that could be useful. So good question. Oh my gosh, I'm getting such good Instagram questions. I really like answering them. I need to go to Twitter though in a minute. I'll try that in a minute. Ali Shot wanted to know, do you have any interview tips? I'm about a week away from finishing my undergrad and want to land a good job. Thanks. I have one interview tip that I'm pretty sure sealed the deal on my last big job. And that's because I've worked for myself pretty much ever since. So yeah, ever since. So this was so big to me, especially since you're just finishing undergrad. Everyone is putting our generations in this box that we are unappreciative, that we don't work hard, that we don't care, that we're just very flippant. And I think that if you can do anything to combat that, you should. And one very, 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 very simple thing you can do is send a thank you note. So first of all, you already probably are practicing what's going to happen in the interview, presenting yourself with your best foot forward, having ideas. Always ask a question. If they say, do you have any questions for me? That's sort of like a pretty usual tip that you should probably know by now. But if you don't, prepare yourself, do your homework on the company and know what you're getting into, know who you're working for, ask a personal question, not a personal question, but a question about the person you're talking to, ask a question about the company, ask how it works, ask about the culture. But other than that, that thank you note is so big. I remember when I interviewed for the law firm I worked for I think I worked for them for like 5 or 6 years. I did the interview and I knew I was doing a receptionist interview, that there were a million other girls that were probably just as good or if not better, that would get the job. And I just had a thank you note ready in my purse. And it wasn't to hand her, the interviewer. I actually left the interview, drove home, stopped at the mailbox outside of my house and put the thank you note in the mail immediately. Like, it was already ready to go. I signed it. I personalized it a little bit once I was done talking, slapped a stamp on it, put it in the mail. I don't know why. I was not told that that's what sealed the deal. But I think because I was so young, I interviewed for that job when I was 20 years old. I sent a thank you note in the mail. Even then was kind of like a weird thing for people to do because people don't do that anymore. They're using email, they're using Scale, all this crap. And I put a thank you note in the mail. And I think that's the reason that not only did I get offered the job, I got offered the job 2 days before they said they were going to announce to everyone that they were offering the job to whoever they were going to offer it to. Send a thank you note. Personalize it a little bit. It really goes a lot further than you would think. Good luck, Ali. I hope you get the job. Woo! Oh my gosh, so much pressure. This just in from the Josh Speaks on Twitter. Can you envision AmyTV evolving over time into a type of Oprah network? Only if it's on the Oprah network. Yes. Cameron Manning wants to know, what are the top 3 analytics I should be tracking on YouTube? Top 3 metrics I'm going to say are watch time and views. That's super important. I think you should check them both together because your watch time should be exponentially more than your views, and both of them should be increasing all the time. Next, I would say to check your demographics. It's super important to know who is watching you in addition to you knowing who you want to be watching you. So let's say you want all millennial male audience. If you want that and you don't have that, it's like 50-50, or you aren't getting a lot of male audience for some reason, then that's all, first of all, very weird. But second of all, you're clearly doing something wrong with how you present the content that is gravitating more than just that male millennial audience. So always important to pay attention to that. And the third thing is to watch your traffic sources. Anytime you're getting search, anytime you're getting a suggested video sending you traffic, anytime you're getting external sources sending you traffic to your videos, it is so important to know where that's coming from, why it's happening, and figure out ways that you can make the most of those situations when they do happen. And there's a lot of other metrics you should be checking, but you put me on the spot. This growing home asked, I'd love some advice on how to impress leaders in the social world to gain respect and build relationships. How do aspiring business people build relationships without seeming like we want to benefit without giving back? I think this is a good question because it's true for everyone. Even if you're in business, if you're an aspiring business person or you are in business, it doesn't matter. If you want to impress someone, you need to do your homework and figure out what it would take to make that happen. Let me put it this way. I just did that interview with Mel Robbins. I could have just rested on my laurels and said, oh yeah, there's a lot of great social metrics in my favor. Her PR team will totally just be into me. It's great. But I didn't do that. Like, I specifically sent an email and I said, here is a chain of events that's already happened. I've already promoted Mel's book on the channel, and it was because I loved it, not because I had to. And now I want to follow up that video with an actual conversation with her because I know it is helping my audience, and having her on the channel is going to help them even more. Here's the video I did. It is outperforming a lot of other videos on my channel, so you can see that there is traction there. And I think that this would benefit her to do a follow-up. It's only going to take 8 minutes of her time, and it'll be at a place she's already planning to be. That's a really quick and dirty example, I guess. Like, I did the work in advance. I did the homework, not just reading the book, but believing in it. And I, of course, loved talking to Mel, but if she was not a fit on this channel, I wouldn't have recorded a video with her. There is a reason why it happened. So I stayed true to who I am, to who my brand is, and I explained how she was a fit. So I think that's super important. Not only do you need to go above and beyond and do your homework in order to show someone you're not just copy pasting some email to them that you're going to give them some exposure. You need to prove that it's going to be worth it for them, but you also need to stay true to what you believe in and how you do things and not just bend over for everyone. Really fun fact, Mel actually sat down with me in the green room and she said, "This is a lot more formal than what you do." And I was like, how does she know that? Did she watch my videos? What? But she was kind of right. Like, the room was a little drab and it wasn't that great. My cinematographer was PO'd because there was not good lighting. We were just upstairs where there was perfect lighting, but things happened and we had to move. I just said, you know what, as long as we have a 3-person conversation with you and me and Mel, you're the other you, like, we're good. Like, that's going to be fine. And that's enough for me in this situation. If it was totally disgusting, it probably wouldn't have happened. But it was enough for me to be able to have a conversation with her that I knew it was going to work. You're always going to do more than you're to expect in return when you're trying to get on people's radar. Bottom line. How did Gary Vaynerchuk find out I existed? I did a musical book review of his book. No one was doing musical book reviews at that point in time. Zero. Nobody was claiming that very exciting venture, except for me. So I did something above and beyond, and I expected nothing in return. And the fact that he even shared it on social media blew my mind. Did it help him promote his book? Sure. Did he have to do it? No. He was still going to sell a lot of books. I probably sold him a few more, but who cares? It's still something that I did. I went above and beyond to show him, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you've been doing. I know what you've been doing. It has affected me. And I think that's when really special things happen. So if you want someone to know you exist, think about how you would want it to happen for you. I get canned emails all the time from people like, wow, your YouTube channel is really amazing and it's taking off and you're just the next big thing. I'm going to give you more exposure on my podcast. And I'm like, I literally cannot equate that time to dollars right now. So sometimes I can't make it happen. Other times I can. You have to know that as the person inquiring. Do I have a book launching right now? No. Well, the likelihood I have a podcast slot open when I'm running 2 businesses and traveling all over the world to speak is not very good. So know that. Know that about who you're trying to impress. All right, one more on Twitter, and then I think this video is long. Alyssa asked, what keeps you going when maybe you feel others don't believe in you or your new career choice, which can also waver your belief in yourself? I'm working on writing my first book and feel lots of pressure from multiple sources. Alyssa, Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If the people you are spending the most time with are trying to tell you that writing your first book is a bad idea, they are not good people to have around. So you need to do a couple of things. If this is like mom and your significant other or really important people that you can't really like remove, I get that. I know that that can be very difficult. You now need to play a numbers game of how you surround yourself with more people who do believe in what you're doing, who do believe you should be doing that, who do believe you should go after the life you want. And so maybe that just means spending more time with positive people online who are telling you to do that, like me, watching more content on my channel. I'm not trying to ask you for more views. I'm just saying that maybe some more light when there is darkness in your top 5 is really important for you to incorporate. It doesn't have to be an actual human being in the same room as you. It can simply be someone that you look up to. Maybe there's another thought leader that really drives you. Are you listening to them enough? Are you putting them in your earbuds? Maybe there's podcasts you can listen to that can help you with that. How you proceed with doing what you love is pushing when no one else is going to believe in you. Everyone is in that situation at first. And then when you put the book out and it's suddenly real and it's cover to cover and those same people are like, wow, can't believe you did it. This is amazing. They're happy to hop on that train when that train is already cooking down the road. But you had to do a lot of work for that to happen. So unfortunately, these people exist. And I had someone in my life, I had a few people in my life who didn't believe in what I was doing when I was doing it. But I didn't care. I was bummed out that I couldn't talk to them about it, but I preferred not to. Because if they weren't going to be a positive reinforcement, I had no interest in what they were going to say. Literally, you don't get to be a part of that life now. You don't get to be a part of that side of my life. We can talk about other stupid things that you would like to discuss that are in no way my passion at this point in time. But I am not going to take your opinion in consideration when it comes to this thing because I don't feel you're looking out for my best interest. I basically had to have that conversation with myself to that person in my mind, not actually with them in person because I don't like confrontation. I didn't have to say that. I just never talked about it with them. And that's how you get their opinion to stop mattering to you. Who are the 5 people? That's what you need to work on. I think that's going to help you a ton. Oh my goodness, these were seriously probably the most amazing questions I've ever gotten for a Q&A. No offense to anyone that's ever Q&A'd with me before, but like I'm loving where your head is at right now. I know you are on the brink of something amazing because you are trying so hard to get past those obstacles that are little but mean. Just mean. They're kind of like those little like spokes on the road that make you get a flat tire. They're mean, but they're little. That's all for today's socials. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes and remember to continue to go after the life that you want. Cheers.